Quest for Light, Adventure of the Magi. Exterior village street continuous. Gaspar, 40s, short, stocky, and clean-shaven, walks with a slight limp. He is a magi of a neighboring kingdom with a childhood friend of Balthazar. He wears his star-shaped ruby ring. Balthazar hurries to his old friend with open arms.
Brother Balthazar, is life so hard you can't afford a horse?
I'd rather walk than sit upon a shabby beast as you do. How did such an old and broken animal survive the trip? You must have carried it on your back.
Balthazar greets Gaspar with a bear hug, and the two friends exchange kisses to the cheek. Xenowar and his men chuckle as the two magi tease each other.
Old friend, we have much to discuss.
I would have come sooner, but the weather hasn't been good, especially with this old horse.
So, you seen it?
How could I miss it? There's no star its equal.
Balthazar and Gaspar walk towards the palace.
I sent for you because I feared you would get lost, given your many years.
My many years? I heard you left this world a long time ago.
Interior Balthazar Palace later. Balthazar and Gaspar relax on a bench beside the fire. Gaspar licks his fingers as he eats a syrup-drenched cake from a bowl. Gaspar's leather bag is on the floor next to him.
You realize where God hung his star?
Western Persia.
A surprised Gaspar jumps to his feet and shouts a Persian expression which means my horse's ear.
Isbagol. It hangs over the land of the Hebrews. Have you consulted the Hebrew scriptures? The star is Balaam's scepter.
I'm following Zoroaster, not the Hebrew god.
The star's location and the Hebrew scriptures are compelling. There is something else I must share.
Gaspar takes a rolled piece of parchment from his bag and hands it to Balthazar.
Just before I left Shenaz, a messenger sent by King Phrates arrived. The king wants us to investigate the star, travel to Jerusalem as his emissaries.
Balthazar tosses the scroll to Gaspar.
Have you lost your mind? Why risk our kingdoms and our lives on a quest for a foreign god? What could there be in Jerusalem worth such sacrifice? Ahura Mazda has sent the great warrior who will restore Persia to greatness.
Village bell clangs. Gaspar glances out the window and in the distance sees 100 men on horseback approach the village in 2 columns. A man dressed in black leads them. The star shines low on the horizon behind them.
You have visitors. Quite a few of them.
Balthazar hurries to the window. Balthazar's warriors on horseback begin lining the road, and others on foot take positions in the village square.
Ceres.
Can't be sure, but by their numbers, they mean to show their strength.
I need to go to my men before heads begin to roll. Make yourself comfortable until I return.
Balthazar grabs his robe off the peg on the wall, throws it on, and picks his sword up from the table. Gaspar laughs as he grabs his robe and reaches for his sword.
You run to battle while I watch from the window? I'm not the only old man in this room.
Balthazar and Gaspar run down the stairs to the first floor and out the palace doors. The doors bang behind them. Exterior village square continuous. Villagers armed with swords and bows fill the village square. 100 of Balthazar's men on horseback space themselves near the 2 columns approaching the gates. Ashma, 70s, scarred, pale face. His black robe and hood make for a sinister appearance. He is a dark magi, conjurer of demons, and the leader of thieves and murderers. Ashma leads his men into the village square. Balthazar's men, weapons at their sides, are ready to respond. Balthazar and Gaspar maneuver their horses through the crowd. As the 2 magi approach Ashma, the villagers raise their swords and begin to shout at Ashma and his men. Balthazar raises his arms into the air and pushes downwards with his hands a couple of times. The villagers lower their swords and back a few feet away from Ashma's men.
To what do we owe this pleasure? Your men usually don't enter through the gates when they come to visit.
Ashma pulls back his hood, revealing his scarred face.
Ooh. Ignore the star. It will bring death and destruction to those who seek its light.
Why are you certain of this?
Ahura Mazda has revealed it to me.
I've had no such revelation. Gaspar?
No, I've had no words from above.
Pursue the star, and all will be lost.
Are you worried you'll lose control of the trade road?
Ashma points his fingers at Balthazar. His anger builds.
My concern is with Zoroaster's teaching and the way of the Magi. I have a duty to protect Persia.
And all this time, I thought you were only looking out for yourself.
Balthazar's men laugh for a moment, then silence. Ashma pulls his hood back over his head and gives a final warning.
Mark my words, you will never survive the journey, and your horses, your families, and your kingdoms will belong to me.
As Ashma leads his men towards the gates, the villagers hiss, cheer, and clang their swords against their shields. The noise continues long after Ashma and his men are out of sight.